What's up, everybody? So, March 3rd is when I got my hands on my copy of the Dark Angel supplement book. It's when it finally got shipped to my house. I knew it was going to be delayed, so I wasn't annoyed or anything. It's just, you had to wait. Then I had some issues with filming video, and then, of course, busy with work. But I did get around to reading the lore stuff in this book and checking out some of the other things. And I want to do kind of a ramble on this, my thoughts on the book and thus far and all that jazz. So, firstly, what we're looking at here is the collector's edition version, which means it has none of the border stuff on the front or back cover. I like this. It just feels very clean, very neat, and that's why I went with it. I didn't see, and I don't know if they made mention in the community postings they did leading up to its release. I don't pay attention to that stuff when it's a book that I want to get because I'd rather be surprised for stuff. So I don't know if they said it there, but I was surprised not to see the expensive bundle with the art print as part of it. We saw it for other supplements and the Codex stuff, so I was hoping to see it for the Dark Angels because their art prints have been cool, and this is my flavor of cool. I would have went for it. I don't think I was blind, so I just don't think it was there because I searched, which was unfortunate, but my wallet is thankful I didn't find it, so there is that. Anyways, whenever I see a supplement book, because I do have the Iron Hands one, and I have supplements for older editions that are no longer usable, but whenever I see one, I'm always reminded of the miniature codices of the past. This is the small, slender Dark Angels Codex of the past, and it requires the Space Marine Codex to function, right? So while it's still called a codex, not a supplement, it is a precursor, in essence, one of the precursors to these supplement books. And with that said, it just always comes to my mind when I look at a supplement. So this one's pretty cool. I do enjoy the concept of the way in which these books put together with the crusade rules and relics and everything else like that. It's laid out just like a codex, only it's a supplement book because it does not have absolutely everything you need to run it. The lore is handled well. They did a good job in matriculating the Primaris stuff and the Ultimate Founding stuff. The Hunt for the Fallen is handled very tastefully here. It's obviously an important part of the Unforgiven. It is. But in some previous editions of the Dark Angels Codex at that time, it was so overbearing. Like every other sentence, it felt like they wanted to say, and don't forget about Hunting the Fallen. It's like they're talking about the Rhino APC, and they want to bring up the Fallen, it feels like. It was just too overbearing. So they did a good job in handling it here. I will say the one kind of silly thing to me is how they made mention of the fact that fallen apothecaries can make new Astartes, so they can make what I call false fallen because the fall of Calvin happened 10,000 years ago. He kind of missed it, so you're not really fallen, but whatever. I just think it's silly because A, the fallen size is quite large. We know this. That was a more recent development, which is kind of meh. I didn't really approve of it, but it's fine because my approval doesn't matter, right? It's just I didn't think they needed to be made so large as they are now, but they have the numbers, and in making them feel more or less closer or more akin to a standard renegade force, I think rob some of the specialness and dilute some of the uniqueness that the Fallen have. So that was a bit odd. I get why it's there, I do, but even though I'm not a Fallen fan, those traitors must be made to repent and must be purged. The fact that they felt like a finite resource that's irreplaceable to themselves, I think gets diluted when you start bringing up the ability to make new Space Marines for themselves. But that's just me, some random tidbit stuff. What I did like is I liked the way in which they added more successors, because the 6 down here are new. Not all of them are from the Indominus Crusade or Pure Primaris either. There's new successors made up during this edition. Some of them existed prior to the Primaris existing. Anyways, what is interesting about this is, aside from these guys, the most out there color scheme of the Unforgiven was Guardians of the Covenant. It was iron with black shoulder pads, red robes. Red robes like the Angels of Redemption's red robes. And that's about it. The iron was the most out there part. Everybody else prior to this edition's inclusion of these 6 was either dark green, black, or bone, or some combination thereof. Which I appreciate the unifying kind of formation of that. And then red is used for accents on a lot of these guys as well. So, while that is cool, it is very narrow a color band. And maybe you have an interest in the Unforgiven, but that color band just isn't for you at all. You probably would either look elsewhere or want to make up your own chapter. But making up your own chapter, there are people who want their chapter to be believable. So if they did it in some really out there color scheme, it may not feel like an Unforgiven because it's nowhere near the color palette. Well, the inclusion of these 6, while it's not crazy out there cuckoo-ness, right? We do have kind of like a gold and silver effect going on here. We have some purple, blue, and yellow. We have more color than we did. So this is kind of a nice little foundation as a way to give you the confidence to make up your own color scheme as you see fit. Was it needed for many players? No, but there are those, and I understand and can appreciate it, that want their scheme to feel plausible. So having some out there schemes in comparison to the others of the past kind of helps justify your own personal scheme. Or you might like the yellow or the blue and yellow quartering, so there's that as well. Anyway, it's just always cool to see more successors and their thought process behind how they design them. Cool art and cool pictures are cool, so always a fan of that. And yeah, I think it's a well done book. The one thing I don't like, and it's not a problem with this book, is that if you play a successor and you want to use Relics of the Rock, you need to take Honor by the Rock as a stratagem. And I always wonder just why, right? And I know it's not just a Dark Angels thing. So basically, Relics of the Rock can only be used by the Dark Angels faction keyword. Special issue War Gear can be used by both Dark Angels and successors. And successors can only take Relics of the Rock if they take a stratagem for that, which is just, quite frankly, dumb, in my opinion. I get the significance behind the concept, but what is an Unforgiven successor but at its most basic form, a palette swap of the Dark Angel color scheme, right? You don't paint them as Dark Angels, and you don't use their symbols. You instead paint it as Angels of Vengeance. You instead paint it as Consecrators, Guardians of the Covenant, whatever, right? So there's no unfair advantage to be one of those and take Eye of the Unseen or Foe Smiter. And I don't see why you must be required to take a stratagem where a Dark Angel player doesn't have to. You know what I mean? It seems weird. It's the same thing with doing special characters. It used to be, in editions of the past, Counts As was encouraged. In fact, there was an article back in 5th Ed time period of Dark Angel successors and showcasing their version of a Counts As character. Angels of Vengeance did a Counts As Azrael that was really cool, and I think Angels of Redemption did a Counts As Ezekiel. Anyways, they showcase it on their website in an article form back in the day. And it was encouraged. Counts As were encouraged. We had, Pedro Cantor clones and all those from 5th Ed and forward for a while. And then I think, I can remember for sure with 8th, I'm not sure with 7th, but I know for sure with 8th, it really was like flipped the script and said, no, you can't do any Counts As. So that also is silly to me. And apparently, I have to double check, but the way I was reading it, the Crusade relics, if you're playing with the Crusade rules, cannot be taken by successors at all, which is unfortunate too. So, in those regards, if I was running a game, like an event or a tournament, or if I was just playing against you and you wanted to be, let's say, Angels of Redemption with a Counts As Azrael, I'd say go for it. That's awesome. I want to see a cool converted model. You know what I mean? But that's just me. So that is not a fault of this book. It's a fault of how GW is handling these relics and these special characters and the idea of Counts As and successors. But anyways, outside of that, really cool book. Read through the lore. I am excited about the book. I am inspired to really look at my Dark Angels collection and try to figure out a plan of attack for paying them to a higher standard. It's something that I've been wanting to do for years, and I look at what I have, and there's a lot of just tactical Marines that I want to redo to a better standard. I want to make my Dark Angels more Dark Angelified, if that makes any sense. So that's definitely hopefully going to happen sooner rather than later as I get inspired to get back in the swing of things, painting them and other stuff. Anyways, with that said, do you have your copy? If you got one, what are your thoughts? How are you enjoying it? And yeah, share in the comment section below. Just share your thoughts. Anyways, thanks for sticking through this kind of random just thought ramble on this supplement book for the Dark Angels. I imagine the Blood Angels and Space Wolves and Death Watch are cool too. I think next on the list to buy of those three was probably, for me, would probably be Blood Angels, but we'll see. Anyways, that's it. So until next time, take it easy.